Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around South Jersey. Tonight, I've got the guy that's going to be really hosting it. I want to introduce him, though, to you as Bill Horin. Everybody knows Bill. He's fantastic, and I'll let Bill introduce his guest.
Well, thank you, Jim. And it's weird being in the host seat again. I used to have my own show on SNJ for a while, so let's see if I can remember how to do this. So I do have a guest tonight. It's Jim Cook Jr. He's an American writer, actor, filmmaker, and he's on the board of directors of the Levoy Theater, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about a lot tonight. So welcome, Jim.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to get right into the documentary, because that's one reason I wanted to come on the show tonight. Both of you were interviewed for the documentary, and I have to say you both did a great job. As a documentary filmmaker, the interviews are so important, and if you get people that don't know how to handle an interview, it makes your life miserable. So, Jim, we'll start with you. You actually wrote a book, and I believe it's called Roundabout.
That's correct.
And it's about the history of the Levoy Theater, basically. First of all, why the title Roundabout?
So, Roundabout, it's interesting. I wrote the book, and it had a number of working titles. So it's kind of sort of a combination. It's a play. First half of the book is a play that we performed at the grand opening gala of the theater in September 2012. And then the second half is sort of a comprehensive history of the theater dating back to 1908. The name Roundabout comes from a previous invention that a gentleman by the name of William Summers made. He created a thing called a roundabout, and it was the precursor to the Ferris wheel. And he had the patent to it, and it was made of wood, and there were two of them, and they sort of went concurrently, and this was in Summers Point in Atlantic City, and they were very popular. And the idea for this was stolen by George Ferris and brought to the Chicago World's Fair, and it's pretty wild. There was a big court case that ensued, and this was the late 1800s, early 1900s. Summers kept the patent to the wheel, and Ferris kept the name. That was the court decision. So he lost the name Roundabout. He got to keep the patent for the wheel. But the Ferris wheel caught on. The big difference was that the Ferris wheel was made of metal. The roundabout was made of wood. Summers went on to create, he was an inventor, he had a lot of different patents. Around the early 1900s, he made his last invention, which was a device that ironed women's corsets. It was a very high-tech device that ironed women's corsets, and about a few months to a year later, women completely stopped wearing corsets completely, so this was another sort of unexpected failure of his. So he just sort of packed his bags up and moved to Millville and opened a little theater that still exists today, and that is the Levoy Theater.
But there was a reason, there was a need for a theater, because in 1898,
Right.
the Opera House burnt down. Wasn't on the same location, by the way. I thought it was at first.
Okay.
It was on a different location. So when he came to town, there was need for entertainment in Millville, and the theater, 1908 building the theater, he was filling a need that was really, and by the way, there are no photos of William. Did you look for photos of William Pop Summers?
I have. I've looked for him.
Did you find any?
I can't find anything.
My editor is screaming at me, I really need a picture of this guy. I really need a picture of this guy. So I can't find one anywhere, so I have no idea what he looks like. Hopefully we'll find one before we actually launch or finish the documentary.
I'm going to dig for you. I'll see what I can find. Yeah, I have never found a photo of him. But like you said, yeah, the Wilson Opera House, which was
Right.
also called the Academy of Music, it was located right where the plaza is right now, where there's a big fountain and a number of murals. That was an opera house, late 1800s, was very, very popular. And there was a fire, and it burned down, and for exactly 10 years there was no live entertainment venue in Millville. So Summers saw this opportunity, and he built a small theater, the Levoy, which was, I believe on the first floor was the theater, and on the second floor was a dance hall. And they had different kind of events, vaudeville, magicians. They showed a lot of silent film. And then to answer your question about why I called the book Roundabout is because if you get a copy of it, which you can find it on Amazon, you'll read that we tie in the story of his creation of the roundabout and his failure of that to his leading to the Levoy, and how sort of the roundabout is very cyclical, and how time kind of has this way of it's a time travel story, not to there's a fictional element, there's some time travel, so the cycle of the roundabout is very symbolic.
Oh,
Yes.
I did
Good
read
story.
it, by the way.
Okay.
It's very well written.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. So in 1908, he
Sure.
builds the theater. I think in 1912, he did a major renovation. Was that?
Yes, so the theater proved very, very popular. If you look at old,
Yeah.
okay, so now what you're saying is right. That's 1912. He hired a military colonel.
George is right on top of this, I just gotta
Yes,
say.
this is great. This is one of my favorite photos because when we renovated the theater in 2011, 12, our renovations looked very similar to this, except we were using metal instead of wood that you see here. But it was a very similar sort of harken back to this image. So that was a very interesting thing. But so this is 2012. They have trolleys going through town. They're starting to pave the roads. More people are coming to Millville. It's sort of a halfway point between Atlantic City and Ocean City and so forth. So a lot of people are coming through the area. Of course, we have the glass works. So glass is becoming a huge part of the industry in the area. And he decides to expand the theater. And it was much larger. He turned the second floor into a balcony, which we still have today, and the bottom floor. And so he could do really large, some traveling acts instead of just some smaller local shows. So he had a combination of the local and the traveling acts.
And then I believe vaudeville came in too.
Right, and so in the 1920s, I believe Warner Brothers, I want to say, they came in and they expanded it to almost the size that it is today. Some accounts say that it had almost 2,000 seats in it. They must have been very, very, very small, but I think it might have been close to maybe 800 to 1,000 seats that they had there. And the design of the theater now, the colors and the fabric walls are very similar to what it would have looked like in 22 or early 1920s.
So I watched a documentary or a docudrama on Netflix called Titans of Hollywood, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Did you see that?
I have not seen this, no.
You have to watch it. So they get into why these theaters like Warner Brothers and all these started buying their own theaters to show their films and to do that. And it talked about them buying theaters in Atlantic City at that time. So I'm assuming since Millville was like right near Atlantic City, they were probably, let's get the Levoy Theater and make it into one of our theaters. So that lasted for a while, I believe.
Yeah.
And then what was the next step, Simon Cherevich?
There
Or
were
did it go through another spell?
No, I think there were a few other spells. It changed hands once after Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers really welcomed vaudeville and movies. And movies came to the area, and a place like the Levoy is where you would go and see a movie, not a big movieplex. They just didn't exist at that time. So there were two theaters, the Levoy Theater, which was Millville, and then the Levoy actually had a sister theater, which looks very similar to the Levoy. If you look at it, it's called the Westmont Theater, and it's up a little bit north of here.
I know the Westmont.
Yeah, just by Collingswood, and the facade of that theater looks very similar to the Levoy. It's larger, but it was the sister theater to the Levoy, so a lot of acts that would come from Philadelphia would go to Camden. There were many, many theaters in Camden. And then they would go to the Westmont Theater. They would then go to the Levoy Theater, and then they would go to Atlantic City or Ocean City or Sea Isle, one of these areas down the shore.
One of the things that impressed me when I'm looking to do a documentary, good documentary has what's called conflict and resolve. So between the firehouse, the Opera House burning down, and then when Simon Cherevich took over, he actually struggled financially with the theater. He threatened to close it many times because it really wasn't a moneymaker. He was giving away rabbits. Jim can talk about that. We lost Jim.
To step out
He'll be
for a
back. He'll be
moment,
back,
yeah.
I'm sure. So the next step was it closed 1974.
Right.
It was closed for a long time.
It was, right.
And then what happened?
So the Levoy, just before it closed, it had quite a bit of success. It survived the Great Depression. It survived World War II. When we talk about conflict, the first real hurdle that hit the Levoy was the advent of television. Because if you wanted to watch a cartoon, a TV show, you had to go to a theater to see it. Children would go to Saturday matinees at the Levoy, and so forth. When TV came into your houses, you didn't have to leave your home. Now we even have them in our pockets. You don't even have to go home. You just pull it out of your pocket wherever you go and watch your entertainment. Of course, there's nothing like live theater, but this was a phenomenon. People stopped going to the theater as much. So they had to find new ways of attracting people. The 60s came around. That's when movie theaters and drive-ins really, really, really took off. The Levoy struggled with that. And then, as you said, they tried parades. They tried so many different attractions, amusements, but nothing really worked because the public didn't necessarily have an appetite for that type of entertainment. The schools used it. I know the Three Stooges came here and did a show, and those were all great onesies and twosies, we would say, but nothing long-term. And I don't think the theater had a leadership. They had good leadership, but they didn't necessarily have leadership that saw a vision for the future of the theater. And maybe in the nation there wasn't really an appetite for live theater the way we see it today and the way we saw it 100 years ago. So it closed. This was Christmas Eve night, 1974. There was a small group from Millville High School, I think in the late 80s, that petitioned the city to save the Levoy. They went in. They took a look around. It was not doing so hot. The plaster was peeling off the walls. It was looking rough. And it would have cost them a lot more money than your local small South Jersey high school could muster up. They just couldn't raise that kind of money. Then came, in the late 90s, a gentleman by the name of Joey Pierce Jr., and he came in, and for 2 years he created the Levoy Theater Preservation Society. Now, this was a nonprofit. It was the first Levoy nonprofit, which it still exists today. This is still the organization that runs the theater. He created this with a small group of volunteers, business owners, professionals in South Jersey, and he did a phenomenal job at creating a vision for what the theater could be. And he had plans to renovate, to restore, to bring live theater back to Millville. He was on a number of different planning boards and commissions, and he was just very vibrant and so involved in his community. And then in the year 2000, he was a volunteer for Big Brothers Big Sisters, I believe it was, or something.
And I think George, we have a news article showing Joey Pierce Jr. If you can put that up. Do you see it?
Okay.
It's a picture. He's in the lower right corner. I know we're going out of order on my photos.
No, that's okay.
Which is okay. So he's looking, I want to go back a little bit because I grew up in Millville.
Okay.
I was here in the 50s and 60s. And that's Joey Pierce.
Okay.
But in the 50s and 60s, the matinees at the Levoy, that was the biggest thing ever. To go there on a Saturday and watch these movies, and Simon Sherovitz getting up on stage and doing his giveaways, and it just was an exciting time to go to the Levoy Theater. So that's when I grew up, and that's what I experienced. And then,
That's
like
awesome.
you said, all that changed, drastically changed. And then we're going to come back with the picture of Joey Pierce Jr. again, I hope. So he's the guy that first said, hey, wait a minute. We can save this. We can do something here. I remember coming into town and him giving me a tour.
Oh, wow.
This was way back, and showing me, they were trying to do it like it originally was. And he was showing me around, and this was a long time ago, obviously. So tell us a little bit more about this man, Joe Pierce Jr.
I always say I wish I could have met him. He was before my time, because I think he and I would have really seen eye to eye and would have been really good friends. And he really had a vision. He studied in his universities historic preservations, small towns, this kind of work. And the Levoy Theater was just sitting there derelict, and it was it was a treasure that a lot of people just saw something that should be demolished. What they saw, he saw something totally different. He saw a real gem just sitting there waiting to be polished and resurrected. And it was his vision. And he got some friends together, and they really started fundraising. And the first thing he wanted to do was to create a nonprofit that could manage this building. And there was not much to do in the building because it was, again, derelict, but it was a historic building. So he petitioned the state of New Jersey and had it placed on the Register of Historic Places. So it's on that national register. It's on the registry for the state and the National Registry. Historic building, and they gave us a wonderful plaque that used to be on the building. It's now inside the theater. And if you go upstairs into our mezzanine lobby, you can see a fantastic wooden plaque of his photo and the metal plate that they gave us.
That's in the documentary.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, he was just a really vibrant person from what I hear, and that it was such a shame to lose him. I know he was helping a young person who was in need during I think it was a Big Brothers Big Sisters or something like that, a volunteering trip. He was doing some mentoring, and he unfortunately drowned. He passed away, and so we lost him. And then that was in 2000, and then 8 years went by. 7 or 8 years went by, and
I just want to interject something.
yeah,
real
please.
quick. As most people know, his father is Joe Pierce Sr.
Right.
And if you go to Bim's Pizza, that's him.
Okay.
He's there working all the time and makes a great pizza. So he's in the documentary talking about that time when his son, he was a great interview, and he filled us in on a lot of things that happened during that time period when they were trying to, get the theater renovated. And then when Joe Jr. died, it kind of lost its heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of put it on hold, like you're saying. And then go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, he really had a vision, and unfortunately, I don't want to say that vision died with him, but a part of it did, and the group that he had assembled really believed in what he believed in, and they wanted to keep it alive. They didn't necessarily maybe have the business acumen to renovate the theater, but they were able to keep it going for almost a decade from being demolished. They were able to build some small offices inside. They were able to replace the roof, and they kept it going. And then in 2007, something changed. Something big changed, and that was, well, the story goes. So I was there for this. There was a theater company called the Off Broad Street Players. Walter Webster started that theater company, and if you do theater or you've seen theater in the area, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
We did a whole documentary on him.
On Walter, yes, I heard it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's he was great to work with.
Walter's still working. Actually, he's at the theater right now as we broadcast this, auditioning people. They're doing Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, and he's co-directing that with another woman, and I auditioned for it. We'll see if I get in. But so he's still at it, but he created a theater company, and he wanted to put on big musicals, and I came in about 2003. I started doing theater with him. I was a teenager, and we were working out of high schools, middle schools, fire halls, the Trinity Methodist Church in Bridgeton. People were climbing out of windows and running around the building to make their entrances on the other side of the stage. So they had the talent, they had the passion, they did not have a permanent home. And
They were a church basement.
They were in a church, started in a church basement.
And we went there and filmed it. I'm thinking, how did they do what they did in this church basement? But they did put on some great productions. But then, go ahead.
Well, then someone by the name of Lauren Van Ebden, who is not here right now, but you'll see her in the documentary.
She couldn't make it tonight. I just want to let you know she's got something else very important going on, but she wanted to be here.
In her defense, she has 3 kids, and so that keep her very, very, very busy. So I always tell her she gets a free pass for everything here on out. But she came and auditioned. She had just gotten out of law school. She auditioned for South Pacific. We were doing South Pacific, and she got the lead role. And so she moved home, and she was planning on going to New York City to be a lawyer up there. She had passed the bar up there. But she had a little window of time where she was spending some time with her parents in Vineland, and she wanted to do a show with Walter Webster, who was a mentor to her when she was in high school. So we do the show, I meet Lauren, and she realizes, wow, this theater company, these actors are fantastic. It's a shame they don't have a bigger theater to perform on. At the same time that was happening, Millville was having a real renaissance, thanks to Mayor Jim Quinn and Mayor Tim Shannon, the late Tim Shannon, who was fantastic. And they just rebuilt this sort of struggling community from the ground up and gave it this huge artistic renaissance. But the Levoy was always sitting there, and it was empty. It was kind of an eyesore, as they would call it. And Lauren and her father, Phil, went to Jim Quinn and other people and said, what do you think about bringing this theater back? What if we could get the money to do this? What would that look like? And then the idea was born, and the rest is history. I don't want to spoil the documentary for
You're
anything.
You're not spoiling. In fact, I'm going to ask that George show the renovation photos. There's a bunch of photos where they're actually working on it, and it was an enormous task. I mean, so I sat down with Phil.
Okay.
He's got thousands of pictures of the renovation.
Oh, yeah.
Good photos. So we went through all these, and it just was amazing how much work went into redoing this facility. And then, of course, we had the wall collapse,
Yep.
which some people said, maybe you shouldn't keep doing this, maybe you should stop. But they said, no, we're going to move forward with it. The theater collapsed. So they ran into a lot of, it was an enormous undertaking. And the spirit in Millville, the people doing this kind of stuff and the way they can overcome this kind of adversity, it just always impresses the heck out of me. And anyway, so they did. Levoy's insured. They got it up and running, and then there was the premiere.
Yes.
So
There is an article that I wrote.
there's your name.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I worked at the Bridgeton News years ago. This was 2010 to 2013 I was there, and I wrote a lot about the Levoy. And like you said, they had started constructing it. They were doing some work on the roof, and being sandy soil, one thing led to another, and the one wall, there was a partial collapse of a third of the building. As when I look at the photos, it's like, wow, it looked so much worse than it actually was. But it was pretty wild. And I remember the day that it happened, calling Lauren on the phone and saying, I don't know where you are, but I'm still in and still invested, and I think we're gonna do this. And this is a roadblock, but we don't stop. We had a dream to do this, and we're gonna keep doing it. And she said, absolutely. And that was the extent of it. Luckily, there were no major injuries, and they were able to clear the area very quickly and get back to work from the ground up, and now it's very, very secure. They excavated so much of the ground out and put renovations, and we'll get back to the opening.
We're going to continue this story
Yeah.
right after this commercial break.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born right here in America. With more than 41 years of service to our valued customers, Advanced Treads in Norman, New Jersey is South Jersey's full-service distributor of General Tires. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tires, anywhere is possible. Advanced Treads, 1325 West Landis Avenue in Norman, New Jersey. Call them today at 856-696-5004.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
Looking for a hidden gem on the other Jersey Shore? Discover the Hotel Charlesworth in Fortescue, New Jersey, where charm meets elegance. Enjoy fine dining, breathtaking views of the bay, and the warm welcome of your host, Sybil. And ladies, every guest gets to pick a free piece of jewelry, most often a beautiful ring. Because perfection deserves privacy. Reservations only. Call 856-447-4928. The Hotel Charlesworth, Fortescue's best kept secret, on the other Jersey Shore in Fortescue, New Jersey.
The most.
Why did someone build the Levoy? The answer was to fill a void that had been left for almost a decade by this fire. Christmas Eve 1974 is when the theater officially closed. But in late 90s, early 2000s, a gentleman by the name of Joey Pierce Jr. came in. He created this nonprofit, and it was to restore and revitalize the Levoy.
It was a mess. Every single part of the building was deteriorating and crumbling. But on the other hand, it was as majestic a building as you have ever seen.
People don't understand. This was a 100-year-old theater. They don't have them anymore. And that was the call.
We didn't reinvent the wheel, we just gave Millville one of the wheels.
We opened a theater, we created economic advantage for the city of Millville, and we've created an arts opportunity for thousands and thousands of citizens.
The very first show I think that we did in the building was a silent movie with live orchestrations. And I kind of just peeked my head out of the curtain and said, "Welcome to the Levoy," and and everybody went wild because it was the first time that that had happened in 40 years.
Well, welcome back, and that was our trailer for the documentary Applause, the story of the historic Levoy Theater. So the documentary itself is going to be about 25 minutes long. It's going to premiere on September 19th, and it actually opens our Cut Film Festival. So Jim, now that you're here, I wanted to ask you.
The other Jim, right.
I'm
The old
surrounded.
Jim.
I got
You
gyms.
got the
I got
young
gyms
Jim
everywhere.
I'm surrounded by gyms. So let's talk about your role with the Levoy Theater. Jim was telling us how the Van Evdens and you worked together at one point in getting it off the ground. Did you think that was actually going to happen when you first started this?
Well, when Joe Pierce Jr. and Sr. came to me, I said, "You guys are crazy. There's no way this is going to work." And to their credit, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into it and did an awful lot to keep it going, keep the ball going. And then, of course, Phil and Florence is his wife, Phil and Lauren, just really stepped up and went full force. And I'm so proud of them and what they were able to do. And where we could help with the city, we were there to, be supportive. And it really, thank God, it's worked out. And I mean, what a beautiful asset for the city of Millville.
I'm fortunate that I get to photograph a lot of their shows, and I keep telling people the quality of what they're doing. So last week I photographed photos for Hairspray.
Yeah.
This is a local, regional company, and you would think you were in New York.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. They keep getting better with the shows. So you and I go back to the 50s and 60s,
Yeah.
and we remember the Simon Sherovich
Yep.
era. And you had some good stories about Simon. Before we move on,
Yeah.
because he's a young kid. He doesn't.
I'm just a
He doesn't
young buck
remember.
over here.
He doesn't remember any of that stuff. But you had a couple of good stories. And Jim, by the way, is in the documentary and tells some great stuff about the Levoy. Give me one of your Simon Sherovich stories, if you could.
I think probably the one that everybody really enjoyed was he would give out like rabbits. He would give stuff out to the kids who would come. And
parents love
Simon sold used cars. And in fact, he made his living off of the World War II veterans who were out to the airport. They would come and buy a used car from him. And he just loved people, and I still remember how he loved seeing the kids there. And that was something, as a kid, I loved going there. I remember paying 16 cents for the Saturday matinee to see a movie at the Levoy. And, Simon was an entrepreneur. He was a pretty successful businessman. And to his credit, he sunk a lot of that money into the Levoy Theater. And, he enjoyed the people, and especially the kids. He really liked helping them.
I know he did his best to keep it going. He did everything he could. In fact, a friend of mine was the last band to play there, Chris Harazi.
Oh, yeah, I know Chris.
He
Sure.
remembers
Yep.
1974, they were the last band to
Oh,
actually
wow.
perform at the before it officially closed. So that growing up in Millville, the memories of the Levoy, and there were a lot of things growing up that really made an impression. And there are things that we had, the Levoy was a big part of that.
It was. I loved the upstairs, that round thing that you could sit on was really cool. Vernon Clark, who was a friend of mine, was one of the projectionists there, and it was just comfortable. Loved going there, loved the movies, and yeah, like I say, as a kid, we go down there on Saturday afternoon, watch movies, and have a good time. And Simon was usually there saying hello to us, and yeah, he just really was a good person that way. I went to school with his kids. They all went to St. Mary Magdalene with me.
I went to St. Mary Magdalene, not at the same time, but
You're younger.
Yeah.
But we went to school together, and his two daughters and his son John, and they were part of the church family as well. So that's how I got to know them.
So yeah, it was an interesting time, and then we moved forward, and we have Joey Pierce Jr., we have the Van Ebdens, and now we have this beautiful theater that keeps growing as far as I can see. So I just want to remind people, so this documentary that we did, that we're very proud of, by the way, will premiere on September 19th, and it's going to be part of the anniversary celebration by the Levoy Theater. So they are going to have an event before the premiere of the documentary, then it'll be the documentary, and then we're going to do an hour of the Cut Film Festival.
That's great.
So it's going to be a night of really, there's we go with Cut. But let's go back to the Levoy, George, for a minute. I've been fortunate to be able to, I photograph a lot of the shows there now. And can you show some of the pictures from, it's the recent photos, the performance photos? Yeah.
Oh, that's Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. So I get to see these talented, there's so much talent. Peebo Bryson, I got to be honest, I really didn't know Peebo Bryson, but I became a fan after this show. So there was Sarah Evans, Packed the House.
Great concert.
Great concert. So people are coming to Levoy, and they're packing the theater many nights, and it's bringing in an energy to downtown Millville, which we need. Between, there's the arts and there's the Levoy, and so more can happen. We're hoping that more does happen in downtown Millville. But I love photographing. This is Hairspray. This is from last week. What a cast.
This show,
I don't know, how did they find these people?
It's awesome. This show is also performing next weekend too, Thursday and Friday night, and then Saturday and Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, because
great show.
I meant to bring that up,
Yeah.
but it is. It's worth every.
Oh,
Now,
the Nutcracker's coming back.
I do the photos and video for Atlantic City Ballet.
Okay.
So when they came to the Levoy, I was thrilled, because I'm a big fan of what they do, and I'd like to see more of that coming to the Levoy as well. And some of the plays, and the lighting and the way they handle audio and lighting, it's so professional. And the stages, these guys are funny as heck. I mean,
Oh gosh, the Calamari sisters.
Yeah, the Calamari sisters.
The drag, that's fantastic.
Yeah, they did a hilarious show. So I feel very fortunate to be connected to Levoy and have the opportunity, and then to be able to do a documentary about the history.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that your book, I saw your book 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
They gave it to me, and it sat there, and I'm thinking, this would make a really cool documentary. But we just had so many other things on our plate at the time that we said, okay, we're going to hold off on this, and this year was the year to do it.
I'm so glad. Thank you for supporting the theater the way you do, and for reading the book. I thought it was just going to collect dust on a shelf and be forgotten forever, but here I am.
My writer
talking about it.
my writer has used it a lot. He's writing the narrative for the documentary. He writes all our documentaries, and he got a lot from the book, and that always helps us when we do that.
So the book was interesting because there were so many different accounts of things that happened at the theater, a lot of word of mouth stuff, but everything that you would read in that book came from newspapers. So Bridgeton News, I used to work there. I was a news reporter. You saw some of my articles on the screen from many years ago. I would spend nights there. I'll stay there till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning after my shift and just hang out with the microfilm machine and just run through Levoy Theater ads or stories about the Levoy Theater from way back. I'm talking the day it opened, 1908,
Wow.
and the shows that they performed there. And actually, the play that's in the book Roundabout is where we recreate the opening night acts that happened in 1912 that we redo in 2012. So it was really cool. It's a really cool revival, and that all came from newspapers. So it was all based on, none of it was word of mouth. It was all very factual accounts.
You know, like I said, it made my life, when you're doing a documentary, to have that kind of stuff to access. I mean, we've got 3 documentaries in the works right now, and some of them are like really hard to find information for. So Jim, what would you like to see happen with the future of the Levoy?
I just am thrilled with what's happening now. Downtown is dead in Millville. Thank God for the Levoy. When I see cars downtown, I go, yes, the Levoy's open tonight. Because the rest of the time, you could lay on High Street and not be bothered by a car. So they really has come a long way. And one of the things I wanted to say, when I was the mayor, I was sitting watching The Amazing Kreskin. And he said something that really touched me. He said he's traveled all over the world, performed in all kinds of different venues, but this is one of the nicest that he's been in. And that was impressive to hear. I mean, it really was. And I don't know if you guys happened to be there the night he did his show. He is amazing. He said, you take my check, you put it anywhere you want, and I'll find it. And they took him outside with 2 people away from the inside of the Levoy, and they hid his check in a Goober's candy box, and the son of a gun found it. So,
I do remember him. I didn't see that show, but I do remember him.
Yeah.
So you brought us to something. Go ahead.
Oh, another thing I wanted to mention, one of the highlights of my life, I guess, would be I got to perform with Martin Short on the stage at the Levoy.
He's a talent.
He was super. What a great guy. And we just had a really good time. I was the straight man, and he was Jiminy, whatever.
Jiminy Glick.
Glick, that's
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I was the straight man.
It was a great night.
It was really great. And I told a story that my oldest son is vice president of NBC Sports. And this was before Trump was president or anything, but was going to run. And I told the story that back in 2006, Trump was playing in my son's golf tournament. And after the first round of the tournament, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, Tony Romo came in the NBC trailer, and they said, hey, you got to talk to that guy. He's cheating on the golf course. So Gary calls him into the NBC trailer and says to him, Mr. Trump, this is a tournament. You can't cheat in a tournament. He said, I cheat in golf. I cheat in business. I cheat on my wife. I can do whatever I want. And that's the night he did Stormy Daniels. I can't make that up.
Okay.
Cannot make that. Well, this was what was cute.
This was not on my
This
schedule.
has gone off the rails.
This was what was cute about it. When Short and I went downstairs, he said to me, Jim, I thank God I'm a Canadian citizen.
Oh, you told the story on the Martin Short. Yeah,
with him.
at the
That
Levoy.
was
Great.
That was it.
Okay, let's move on.
That is on
One-
page 257 of the sports.
One thing you said that I find amazing too, the Cut Film Festival that's coming back for its 4th year.
That's super.
I have to say the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is the Cut Film Festival.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because it's a challenge. I mean, these are films that are not your normal action adventure. You know, they're really creative films from all over the world. They're not for everybody. So convincing people to come to Millville to see them, I gotta admit, it's a challenge, but we're doing it. And we're getting everybody, but the one thing, every filmmaker that comes, we had a bunch of filmmakers came last year.
Wow, that's super.
From far away as Los Angeles and other places. The first thing they walk in, they go, wow, this is amazing. And to see their film on that beautiful, the projection they have there is top notch. I mean, the quality is amazing, the sound, everything about the theater just makes them go, wow. So that was one of the reasons that we chose Millville for the film festival.
Yeah.
And I kind of moved back to Millville because of the film festival originally. I wanted it to be
we
a
missed
big,
you.
Yeah, I could tell, Jim. So, yeah.
I love the horns. Go on.
I went to the film festival last year, and I had not been to it in the past. I love film, and I was so impressed. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought maybe, it's a film for local films, kids making Jersey Devil movies or something. But no, this was like something out of it was really something
I'm
like out
very
of
proud.
Hollywood.
And
Yeah,
it
was
takes,
phenomenal.
there's 3 of us that go through. We have to edit down. Last year we had 189 entries. We had to get it down to 50. that is such a process because there's so many good films and you have to really look at them and decide. So we're going through that now. The entries end August 15th, and then we'll go through the editing process and we'll put everything together. And Sean over at the Levoy, Patrick is so great to work with. He makes sure all the levels are right, the audio is right, everything's beautiful. So when people come in to watch the films, it's perfect. So we do have a trailer. George, if you can show the trailer for the film festival this year, we could do that. The films that we chose, so the way that they were presented, the level and quality of the film presentation, the theater we held this in, the quality of the projector, everything was just top notch. Let her roll.
Seeing that trailer was so awesome because it brings me back to late 2000s, early 2010s when we were just coming up with the idea of reopening the Levoy and saying, what are the kind of things we want? Like, we know we're going to do musicals and plays. What are the other things? Comedy, concerts, and we always talked about film festivals, but we didn't just want to do anything. We wanted to do it right, and seeing that on that trailer is like, wow, you are really doing it right, and we really did it right. It's very exciting to see.
We want this film festival to become a destination.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. I went to the Montclair Film Festival a couple years ago. I spent 4 days. Montclair is beautiful. They have a well-oiled machine up there with tons of volunteers, and I was very impressed with their whole organization. But I'm going to say, the films weren't better than what we showed, and their theaters were nowhere near as impressive as the Levoy. Mm-hmm. They had nice little theaters and everybody had a great time. But I think there's a lot here to offer. And Jim was saying downtown's kind of dead. It is, but there's things coming. If we can get a few more restaurants downtown, a few more things that people come and they don't just go to the film festival. They come and they stay for a few days and they do other things in Millville. There's a lot. We created a website, There's More to Millville, because we believe there's still a lot going on in Millville.
That website's fantastic, and the Millville had a great sort of revitalization in the 2000s, and it's sort of the capstone of that was the opening of the Levoy. And these things, economically, they sort of go in waves, and I think we sort of crested that wave, and maybe we're in a little dip right now, but in the coming years, especially at the Levoy, you're going to see some really awesome expansion.
I talk to Lauren frequently.
Yeah.
She has lots of plans.
Oh, yeah.
She's not giving up on this. I'm not giving up on this. The arts are only a small part of I know that sometimes, like I do work with the city of Millville, and they go, you spend too much time on the arts. I go, well, I don't charge you for anything I do with the arts. That is totally my time, but I think it gets people's attention. I think it gives a positive thing to what's going on in Millville. And then I still talk about everything else. I still present all the other events, the businesses, everything else. But I think the arts, they were at one time supposed to be the linchpin. Mm-hmm. When Wheaton Glass closed, they wanted the arts district to become. The hard part is, as I deal with artists all the time, it's great that people came into town, they drank the wine, they ate their hors d'oeuvres. They weren't walking home with art under their arms. Mm-hmm. They weren't buying art. Selling art is a whole different world. I think the Renaissance Center, the Arts Innovation Center, Danielle's Place downtown, Wheaton Arts, I think they're doing amazing exhibits. I mean, I feel like I'm in New York when I go to these places. So hopefully the arts will continue to be. This is from, by the way, we're bringing the night of the film festival and the documentary. We also have the Renaissance Center and the Arts Innovation Center for our strobe artists. So they're going to be coming into town, And we've got 42 of the best artists in South Jersey going to be showing their art. I'm very fortunate to have so many good artists, and they'll all be in Millville that night. And most of them are going to come to the film festival and to the documentary premiere. So it's going to be a great weekend. And not only that, and I'm not going to ask George to show it now, but there's another event that put together by Diane Rogers and I think Jackie Sandro and Danielle called High Street Fest.
Okay.
So on the Saturday of the film festival,
There it is.
there's going to be open studios, music. So I don't expect anyone to sit through a 9-hour film festival. You should get out and explore other things.
Sure.
Get something to eat. Go to some other stores. But then you've got this thing going on, and there's going to be music all over town. It's going to be a really good weekend to be in Millville.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the whole thing.
That's exciting. That's going to be really, really fun.
I think it's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of fun. So back to the film festival for just a minute.
Sure.
George, do you have some of those photos from the last couple of years just to show? We're drawing people. I don't know if he's got. Yeah, we're getting a younger crowd. A lot of younger kids coming in, making these. I love encouraging young filmmakers. I think making films is really competitive. It's really difficult. And the technology has gotten so much better that a lot of people feel like they can make a film.
Mm-hmm.
So you list yourself as a filmmaker. What kind of films do you do?
I started making films in high school. I did little films in my backyard with my cousin, and we did that kind of stuff. And then I studied film in college. I studied journalism primarily, and then sort of minored in film. And then when I say film, I really got into journalism. So, documentary, and I made a lot of video journalism for NJ.com when I worked there.
You worked at NJ.com?
Oh, yes, yeah. At Bridgeton News was part of NJ.com, so they sort of
Really?
merged, yeah. And so South Jersey Times now, and did a lot of video for them. I was an editor. I worked, at one point, almost just did primarily video for them toward my end of my term there. I did public affairs in the military. I did a lot of videography and video for like DVIDs and those kind of defense, the defense side of things. And then when I came home during the pandemic, I just started making some short films again. And I'm actually working on writing a little short film right now with a friend of mine. And
Hey,
who knows? Maybe you'll see it at the Cut
hurry
Film
it up.
Festival.
Hurry it up!
It's,
You got a week to get it into the film festival.
Maybe in a couple years.
Are you editing too?
I do. I did edit. Yeah, I did the whole Final Cut. I was a Final Cut guy. Yeah.
Are you a Final Cut guy?
Yeah, a little bit.
I
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I've switched to Adobe Premiere probably 6-7 years
Yeah.
ago. But
You know what? It's crazy though, because I also do a lot of vlogging. Like if I'm in a show with the Levoy, I will do vlogs of the rehearsal process and the performances. And just with the phones now, they make it so much easier, and you can just do everything on CapCut and all these different programs. It's crazy. Everybody's a filmmaker now, right?
it seems like everybody, but there's so many. One thing I talk about too when I teach workshops on films and also on photography, it's being able to tell a story. People get
1000%.
so tied up in the technology and the special effects, and you can do this, you can do that, but you're not going to keep people 25 minutes for what our films are or whatever. In our short film festival, they're only 20 minutes is the longest. And what I think would be good right now, what do you think? If we just do a little commercial break.
I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm here with Jim Cook, and we've been talking about the Levoy Theater and the Cut Film Festival, and also about a lot of different things that are going on in the city of Millville. And that's one thing. So I changed over a website. There was one called the Glasstown Arts District website that Marianne Lodge put together, and when she retired, it was going to disappear. So I said, Marianne, let me take over the website. We'll totally redo it. And we'll make it into a citywide website, because I honestly believe there's a lot going on in the city of Millville. So some of the stuff that we focus on, I have a woman working for me who every week she updates events in the city of Millville. And I think if you go to the next slide, George, you'll see, well, there's places to eat. Every place that we're going to have to put the Fortescue place on now in Charlesworth, it's called. So we're trying to make sure that people know exactly every place to eat, when their hours are, what they've got. We did nature, we did all the places. There's so many beautiful spots in Millville to enjoy nature. So it's all on this website called There's More to Millville. The website is actually visitmillvillenj.com. So if you go to visitmillvillenj.com, you're going to be able to find out all the stuff you need to know about Millville. And there's a lot of small businesses still in Millville. And we decided we're going to feature the owners of these small businesses, tell their story, let you get to know them a little bit, and then get to know a little bit more about their business. So there's like 27 on there so far. I'm adding another one tomorrow, actually. There's a new market in downtown Millville. So we're going to keep working on that. But the events calendar, it's the only, this is one page. There's 9 pages of events that are happening in the city of Millville between now and I think the end of October or November. So we try to keep this as updated as we can. I refer to it all the time because I like going to different things. You'll see on their Hairspray, as we were talking about, it's got one more weekend to go. It's an incredible performance. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that. And then if you go to each page, like this is coming up, the Holly City Fest. That's a Millville event. So it gives you the dates, the details, gives you times, gives you locations. So we want to keep this growing. It is growing. A lot of people are now signing up for our newsletter. They're signing up for the Facebook page and for social media. So I want to thank everybody for doing that. And once again, the website is visitmillvillenj.com. Jim, anything you want to add? Now, you're not a Millville guy. You don't live here. But you're part of the Levoy Board of Directors.
Right.
So how often do you come into town and participate in things in Millville?
Well, it depends on what I'm involved in at the Levoy. Some of our board members are a little more hands-off, which is a good thing. They have reason for that. And then some of us are very, very hands-on. And I'm very hands-on, so I like to not only do my duties as a board member, but also I like to audition for the theater shows. I'm an actor and a singer, so I do a lot of shows there. If I'm in a show, I'll be there almost every day. If I'm not, I might be here once or twice a month, maybe once a week, depending on what kind of things pop up. The vast majority of what I do is go see shows at the Levoy, which is the best part of the job, getting to see our awesome acts, whether it be the local shows or the professional tours that come in, the comedians, the musicians, film festival. Everything's awesome. So I'm here quite a bit. I'm very invested in my own town in Woodstown, New Jersey, and I live in Philly. But there's something about Millville that's very special, and it's a great artistic area.
So give us a little plug for the anniversary. It's going to tie into our film festival and to the documentary. So tell us a little bit about your anniversary celebration on the 19th.
I'm very excited about this. This is going to be a good party. We're celebrating. It's our 13th anniversary. So we're
13th.
Really?
I
believe it's our 13th. So we opened in 2012 and 25. Yeah, I think 13 now. So we're teenagers now, and we're just getting the ball rolling. And man, we have this. We're premiering your documentary, which is going to be really, really a special thing that people should see. It's a $90 ticket for the gala, which is going to be a huge party in our mezzanine. If you've been to one, you know that they are the party of the year. You don't want to miss it. And then you get also a ticket to the documentary, or you can pay, I believe it's $20. You get a ticket. 15. Okay, wow. All right.
We're giving it away.
We're practically giving it away is to just see the documentary.
You can see the documentary, and you can see the first group of films from the film festival. So from 8 to 10 for $15, you're part of the documentary premiere. We'll have some people speaking at it. Lauren will be there speaking. Okay. I think I might ask you if you would say a few words.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to.
So I'm, like I said before, very proud of this documentary. It's such an interesting story. I think a lot of people in Millville kind of know the story, but there's more to it.
There's more. They think they know the story, but
I was surprised.
There's so much to it.
When we got into this, I was really surprised by all the changes and the trials and tribulations that they went through. And when Phil Van Ebden and Lauren were telling about what they went through to bring this to life, and the Off-Broad Street players and everything that went into it, and I'm just such a fan. I really am. I think if you guys can keep doing what you're doing and keep getting the quality that you're getting from local performances and you get I know it's a lot of tribute bands, but you're getting the best tribute bands. That's one thing I've noticed, because I've seen other tribute bands. I'm thinking, okay, that's the real one. That's the guy that knows what he's doing.
Sure. Well, there's cover bands, which just cover music of a group, and then there's the tribute bands that we bring in are oftentimes actually trained by members of the original band themselves. Like we had a group that came in that did a Journey, Don't Stop Believing, and all this stuff. They were a tribute band, but they were actually trained by the actual band Journey, and that's so true of so many of the groups that we bring in. So they are different people, but they are the group. They are the experience you would get seeing the actual group is what you would get at the Levoy.
But what I like too is the well-rounded offerings. Like I did the Bubble Guy.
Mm-hmm.
What was that show called?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the show. I'm thinking, am I really going to go photograph a guy doing bubbles? Oh my God. He was incredible. Awesome. And the kids in the audience were going nuts. They loved it. So you see different, and the one with the animals, like they brought out these different animals and they introduced them. And you had the Wizard of Oz on ice. I mean, it's such variety, and that's one reason I like photographing these so much, because I'm not bored. I'm always seeing something different, and I'm always impressed with the quality and the lighting and the production. Everything about it just keeps me interested. And as a photographer, that's what you want. You want to see stuff that's just like, there's a moment, there's a moment, there's a moment. So
I'm so glad you brought up the young people and how the kids reacted to it, because when the Off-Broad Street players was just getting in, that was a huge question of us. Is this going to attract young people? Because when you do a show, often you're an actor, you look out at the audience, and it's a lot of white hair, a lot of big white hair dudes, right? And you think, oh man, our young people are going to... But it's been overwhelming, the response from our young people. We have an education center, the Levoy Arts and Education Center.
I wish I talked more about that.
Is so cool, but I'm so excited to say that it is actually still kind of in its infancy compared to the plans that we have for it. And we didn't know when we first opened, is our young people going to want to be part of this theater? And now the second phase of our life is going to be completely driven by the young people. And I wish I could tell you more about it, but there's so many cool different things coming in the future, and the future of the Levoy is going to be phenomenal.
Watching these kids do Shrek after 3 weeks.
Wasn't that awesome?
And this one kid was like, he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing the way you're developing and giving these people. Growing up in Millville, I love growing up in Millville, but there wasn't much for creativity. And I didn't know I was a creative person growing up, to be honest with you. I played sports, I was in all kinds of different things. So the way you're embracing that and making it available, and I think would be a good time now. We've covered a lot.
I think it's
appreciate it, Jim.
Yeah, thank you so
We're going to wrap this up. I want to thank Jim Quinn for letting me host tonight and for being part of the show, of course, and Jim Cook for being here tonight and being such a great guest. Thank you, and I'm sure Jim Quinn will see you again soon. Cool.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.